Hello everyone, and today I'm going to be painting up one of these Marvel Crisis Protocol models. Today I'm going to be using Cyclops. I've already done a base coat of the blue all over in a nice watered down version. I'm going to show you how I highlight them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a mix of the darker colour that we've had with a slight bit of the mid-tone that we're about to use to make an in-between shade, and that's what I'm going to use as the first highlight. So I'm going to use this in-between shade to just pick out the top parts, the bit that will be catching the light, and just touch the top, just a bit like that. So my thought process here is I'm going to be hitting any part of this blue where the light would naturally be hitting it, and trying to leave the recesses as dark as possible, trying to keep that dark blue base colour underneath and just not touch it. This process is going to get repeated a few times until we're using the lightest blue that we possibly can on just a few areas. Okay, so now that I've done that mid-tone all over the model and all the raised areas, it's time to do it all over again with a slightly lighter blue. For that, I'm going to use the mid-tone that I've just been using, mixed with a little bit more of that highlight colour. And so now we're going to use this very, very thin layer to go over again the highlight, the highest point parts of the model. But we're going to try and do it in a really, really thin coat and in a much smaller surface area. There we go, we've gone over all of those muscles with that lighter tone. And you can see it's really starting to look good now. The blue is starting to looking very, very vibrant. But not meaning it sound like a broken record, but we need to do this over again. The next step is to use just the plain highlight colour, all on its own, but again, nice and thin, so it blends nicely with the previous colours. So now we are really just going to be picking up the edge parts of this model, just the tiniest little bits. As you can see, the difference here between the darker layers that I've done and the lighter layers, it's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. It's just, that's the process we're going to keep repeating until we get up to our brightest highlight colour. Because on each of these steps I'm working with smaller and smaller surface areas, these highlight steps actually get faster and faster the brighter you get. Finally, we're going to use an almost white shade of blue to just put the tiniest little highlights on the areas that will catch the most light. Now you don't want to put this on too heavily, otherwise it'll make the model look too bright and almost metallic, which is not what we're looking for, particularly on a Cyclops here. You just want to really make those highest edges pop. And there we have it. The blue is pretty much finished. I'm quite happy with the way that's turned out. The next step is to go and do the yellow. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Hope to see you next time.